You're probably wondering, Cap, didn't you stop the drama? And here's the thing. I don't consider this stuff to be drama necessarily, right? This is like passing commentary on a situation that if it goes ahead, I think will actually change a lot of the YouTube space. So this is more like, this is actually something of personal interest, because I will be closely monitoring this situation because, hey, if Pokey ends up winning this lawsuit, that changes a lot. That changes a lot for like a YouTube reaction space and what's considered fair use. So I have a personal investment into this whole thing because, one, I know both parties, and two, this affects every content creator. So I feel like it's in my interest to be giving like takes and commentary on this whole situation. I'm looking at this from an objective perspective. I'm not here to attack Pokey or to attack Saint in this matter at all whatsoever. I'm here just to give my thoughts on what I think about this whole situation. The TLDR of the current situation is that Mr. Pokey made a video called The Art of Gacha War. Should we bring it up? The Art of Gacha War, which is a 20-minute video going over how people in the gacha tribalist like space shift narratives to basically attack games and people, right? To basically attack games and people. And he goes over a bunch of like fallacies. A bunch of fallacies that people do typically in this gacha tribalist space in order to attack games or people. And he used a lot of different like examples to go like through all of this. Strawman arguments. So what was the first one? The first fallacy, the ad hominem attacks. Ad hominem attacks. We've got strawmans. We got a bunch of strawmans. Secret dark tech ad hominem strawman quick swap. The false dilemma. Fallacy 4, the hasty generalization. Fallacy 5, moving the goalpost. This is one where I was featured in, because Mr. Pokey used my tweets. Doesn't mention me directly. Let's make this very... He doesn't mention me directly, but he uses my tweets to be moving the goalpost. So he's also referring to me in this video, right? Calling out my fallacies, right? Because I'll be real, I ain't gonna lie, Pokey. Saying that I was moving the goalposts in this is crazy. Like, I'll be real. I had a lot of critiques about this video too. I never posted a reaction to it. But I did talk about it on stream. And I was like, a lot of these feel kind of maybe a little bit iffy. Especially this one that was about my tweet, moving the goalpost. Didn't seem entirely fair. Saint Tontus reacted to this video also. Me and him reacted to it on the same day. But he posted a video of his react and I did not. And Pokey essentially went ahead and striked Saint Tontus for his reaction to that video, claiming that it stole his content. He uploaded it like early, messes with his ad revenue, everything like that, and is claiming copyright. And that's basically the TLDR of what's happening. He's doing it because Saint Tontus stole and uploaded his video so soon that it infringes on copyright, whatever, and therefore doesn't fall under fair use, whatever the fuck. But we'll get into it, right? We'll get into it. A little peek.
The Gacha Wars. We have a copyright battle on YouTube between two creators, Mr. Pokey and Saint Tontus. We're gonna...
Why? Why am I getting AoE targeted? It's been like 10 seconds. Bro, it's been 10 seconds. Why am I getting fucking like AoE targeted already? What? The fuck? Okay. Jesus fucking Christ.
Get into that today. Breaking down this copyright battle.
Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. Well, that set the tone, hasn't it? Yeah, that's set the tone. Yeah, that's yeah, the calling Pokey the
Creators,
calling Pokey
Mr. Pokey
the
and
gacha
Santonas.
terrorist immediately. Immediately calling Pokey the gacha terrorist and like this fucking unrelated thumbnail to anything. Okay, great. I wonder where this video is going.
Get into that today, breaking down this copyright battle and what's going on there. Of course, on the legal mindset, we teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney, and this is a fast facts video. And in this case, this is a case involving two different creators. Now, I'll introduce you to the first one. The plaintiff in this case is Mr. Pokey, a Singaporean gacha content creator. So he is the plaintiff in this case because he's the one that actually struck the video. So he's the one that placed these strikes. So I'm going to put him in the plaintiff seat for today in the overall framing. And then the defendant is Saint Tontas. I'm going to call him Saint because I'm lazy, but he is the one whose video was indeed struck. So we've got Mr. Pokey versus Saint in this gotcha war. So Mr. Pokey.
Ding ding ding, ding ding ding. I feel like I should move myself into the middle here. I feel like I should be like over here or something when we're watching this or whatever. But we'll find out. We'll figure it out. It's more than known. Legal Mindset and Tech Tone interact a bunch. Yeah, I think we're all aware that Legal Mindset and Techie are like chill. So I'm not tinfoil hat theory. I'm not saying anything, but fucking tinfoil hat theory. Okay, let's have a look at these opening statements then.
And Saint Tontas are YouTube.
Sorry, bro can't even spell gacha right. Okay, it's fine.
Creators in the gotcha space, and of course if you're in any space, particularly where you're talking about different games and you have a lot of different opinions, you're going to have disagreements, in fact passionate disagreements over the new game. And specifically this boils down to criticism over the new game Arknights Enfield, which
Since when was this about Arknights Enfield? This was never about Arknights Enfield. I'm very confused. Okay, well, yeah, a bunch of hypergrifters, bro. Anyway, let's carry on.
Just came out in January of this year, and of course there's some pro, there's some anti here, and that's how this played out. Is hey, one of them likes the game, one of them doesn't like the game, you know, the other one says, hey, you're a supporter of the game Wuthering Waves, so therefore you're not going to be a supporter of this new game.
Did Pokey ever say that?
So there's an internal conflict here when it comes to that. And Mr.
Oh, do you know, this is kind of frustrating. I feel like this video could have been so much stronger if this opening was better framed. Because here's the thing, I actually think this whole copyright dispute is actually really genuinely interesting. I think it's really genuinely interesting. And I don't understand why there's a reason to kind of like misrepresent why this whole thing is happening, because even the truth of it is still like interesting enough to be talking about. So I don't know.
Pokey used that conflict and a bunch of quote-unquote logical fallacies to mock Saint Tontas in his video, The Art of the Gotcha War. To which Saint Tontas responded,
I mean, Saint was in it. Saint was definitely in it. But I feel like Pokey made this video because there were a lot of people on his ass at the time about his like Arknights Enfield like gacha take when it came to like the actual gacha system, right? And he was like, okay, all of this has been happening for however long. I'm making a video about Art of Gacha War. He even included me in it, right? Not directly with my name, but even included like my tweets in it. So I think he did this about like a lot of people that were giving him shit at that time. So it's not necessarily directly. Saint's definitely involved. Like Saint is 100% like indirectly mentioned or implied to be like in like this video, like for sure. But I think it's also targeting other people too. But I don't, did Pokey ever directly call Saint out? He doesn't directly call like anyone out by name, I don't think. But like, there's a lot of things that can be implied. But like, there's a lot of things that like can definitely be implied, and probably a lot of things you could imply Saint to be doing in this. So like, I think it's reasonable for like Saint himself to think that like it could be about him too. Like, just because Pokey never necessarily said his name doesn't mean that people can't like draw the dots, right? Draw the lines between the dots. I think you gotta be fair on that, right? Especially given like a lot of commentary surrounding this, people be like, oh, this is also referring to Saint, right? So it's one of those kind of things where it's like, okay, maybe he's not directly calling like Saint out, but you could still like draw dots and draw lines. But again, that would be up to like a court to decide whether or not, oh, he is talking about this person or not. I'm not a fucking lawyer, right? Literally, Pokey said this video was made to strike him on his stream. Well, that would be used, right? If that was the case, then hey. But that doesn't mean that like he made it about Saint. Just because he said, yes, I made this as a trap or whatever the fuck, doesn't necessarily mean it's the video's about him. But I don't know. This is something for a court to decide, I guess, like how they view this, what the judges are going to have like sympathy for or not. It's going to be interesting. That's why I'm saying this whole like actual situation is kind of interesting.
With his own video, The Tragic Downfall of Mr. Pokey, reviewing that video and rebutting that and kind of going through these things he calls logical fallacies and kind of making fun of him and also breaking those down in more of an analysis. And that video, The Tragic Downfall of Mr. Pokey, was indeed the one that Mr. Pokey ended up striking on YouTube after its release. So over here, we can see the evidence of the copyright strike right here, which says we received a copyright removal request for your video based on applicable copyright law. We removed your video. Your channel received a strike. If you get 3 copyright strikes, your channel, along with associated channels, will be removed, subject to removal. So this,
and I am gonna say, I've had this opinion since the beginning. Okay, I've had this opinion since the beginning of like, I really don't agree, and I think it sets a very dangerous precedent to copyright strike videos unfairly, in any regard. Like I've said from the beginning, I think Pokey is gonna have a very, very, very uphill battle when it comes to like this case, at least from my personal initial outlook of this whole situation. And everything is gonna come down to like, does Saint's video meet the criteria of fair use? And there are a lot of things that you could say about it. Like, you could, like, the biggest thing being his video is like 3 times as fucking long as Pokey's, right? But then you have to take into account, okay, it's 3 times longer. It's not directly, does that mean it's directly, because when it comes to copyright and what people look for, they tend to be like, okay, is the video that you have made in reaction to directly competing with the original content? I.e., did you rip it bar for bar? Did you just download it and re-upload it, right? That's a straight up non-transformative, not fair use. You are just like taking the same material, copying it and putting it somewhere else, right? If you give it 5 minutes of added commentary, you upload it in a short time span, that's considered still not transformative, because basically the whole thing in its original length is kind of there with 5 minutes. Fair use is really hard, and that's why it's always argued on a case-by-case basis every single time. And I think Saint has the upper hand when it comes to the fact that the video is just massively longer, right? It's just massively longer. However, I think what Pokey is going to try and do is be like, is it transformative commentary? Is it fair transformative commentary? And that's why these things are argued on a case-by-case basis, because it's up to a judge to decide how fair they want to be, right? Because like, if someone's reacting to like a video and say you're like if you lie about them the entire time in rebuttal, you're not like taking the piss. You're not taking the piss or doing mockery. You're actually lying about them and painting their character in a very negative way. The judge might be way less sympathetic to your case of like, oh, the fair use. That's why these things always have to be argued in a court like this, because like it's not black and white as people think. It's not as black and white people think, but I think Saint still has the upper hand just given how long the fucking like video reaction is. But the judge will definitely consider like how in good faith is this content being. Is it made to like attack someone's character or not? Like that is still like can influence an opinion when it comes to like a fair use like case. But I still, again, I think Pokey is gonna have a really fucking hard time dealing with this and fighting it.
This is very important to note. Obviously, if you are a person who is covering someone religiously and they are able to get 3 strikes on you, that's a way they can get you and get your channel removed. And some people can call that perhaps baiting. I guess if you're locked into a battle with somebody, this is something that can indeed happen. And over here, you see the remedies: do nothing, strike expires after 90 days, request retraction, or submit a counter notification. Deleting the video will not remove the strike. So those are your 3 options. So what happened? Mr. Pokey demands Santota Saint give a public apology, delete all videos mentioning him, and never speak about him again. And I'm just going to say for demands, those specific demands, okay, maybe an apology, I understand. But if you're in a space where there's disagreement, where there's fighting, where there's back.
How do I feel about this? He's kind of framing it as though it's blackmail. He's kind of framing it as blackmail, and it's almost like, I will remove it if like you must do this now, which kind of frames him as like being, you know, malicious about it. That's kind of how this is being framed to me from just like listening. Like it's kind of being framed as blackmail. It's kind of been framed as like, yeah, demand, you must. That's at least what I'm getting out of hearing this right now.
Forth, where you're going to get into this, this is better, this is not, and understand with these gacha games, they can have indeed very complex systems, and there's a lot of argument about value, about the value of pulls, about what system is best. Is it a complex system with a lot of characters or whatever else? You could argue about the art, you could argue about the models. There's a lot to argue about in the gacha space, and that kind of makes it ripe for conflict. So I think saying, hey, look, you're never going to make.
I do think this is an uphill battle for Pokey. But if the judge thinks there's an ethical nuance to it and starts letting the morality influence the decision, Pokey's on the chance. That's what I'm thinking too. I feel like on initial look, just by like looking at the facts of everything, it seems to be in favor of Saint. But it depends on how the judge perceives Saint's rebuttal as being transformative. Do they believe it's fair? Like, do they believe, like, if that, yeah, like I say, if that starts getting involved, then the conversation might shift a bit. That's why, like, these things in courts can be like, that's why they're argued on case by case, because not everything is the same. But if they're going on just like, oh, bro, I don't know. I'm logged into this. I'm logged into this to see what's gonna happen, bro. There's so much that could happen. The case could always morph into defamation charge. I don't know about that. Wouldn't you have to file like a separate lawsuit? Court is just about narrative supporting evidence. We'll see.
A video about somebody else in the space, kind of an unreasonable demand. However, Santona's responds with a counter notice and said he hired H3H3's lawyer, a very, very accomplished and successful copyright lawyer in the United States. And Mr. Pokey does go back and say he's committed to a lawsuit. We're going to look at those tweets. And allegedly, according to my information that I received, he hired a Singaporean lawyer. So we'll.
I believe that's not true, right? Doesn't he have to file it in the States? Okay. Hired a US based team. His lawyer is US. Okay, where did bro get his information from? Where did he get his information from? This is making... Okay, this is the second time in the video already that it's making this guy seem a little less credible. Like, the Arknights, it's all started from Arknights Enfield, and then just getting little things wrong doesn't really make bro look very good. But, hey. Okay.
Get into that being a little bit of a mistake. So over here, you can see Mr. Pokey's posts that say at every point of the road, you had the option to take the better path for yourself and everyone's around you. Now you believe hiring a lawyer to draft a counter notification, not a lawsuit.
Pokey himself directly said he also had a Singaporean lawyer. This is not misinfo. Well, maybe he consulted with a Singaporean lawyer first, right? That would make sense, right? If he's like initially wanted to consult a lawyer for advice, it would be a Singaporean lawyer, right, that he'd go to. And then it would be like, okay, you would probably then have to have the chance at this, you would go to a lawyer in the States, right? That's just how that would work. I would have to do the same if it was me. You would talk to a lawyer that's in your fucking country and then have a team in the US, right? Like, that just makes sense. Like, I wouldn't, like, if I had a dispute I wanted to do and wanted to start a lawsuit, I'm not immediately gonna call a US lawyer. I'm gonna call a lawyer in my fucking, or a fucking solicitor in my own country, right?
Will give you legal grounds to steal my content. I am prepared to give you an actual lawsuit. Sleep well. Well, this is very interesting because it seems to me reading this tweet that he just doesn't understand how the system works. And an actual lawsuit, well, what are you going to do? Like, are you trying to sue under Singaporean law? It sounds like, because there's a big problem with that. And
I mean, couldn't he ask him? What, isn't this supposed to be fast facts? Why are we giving opinion? Wait, why are we giving opinion if this is supposed to be facts? Like, just ask the guy. Wait, what? I'm so confused. This is bro's giving passing commentary. This isn't a fact, brother. Oh, hello? Okay, it's fine. This is, hey, well, I'm gonna think about it too much.
Going to go into that. The next comment here is the aim for peaceful resolution or de-escalation has clearly been tossed out, as seen from his recent streams or videos. Saint, please do not treat my one act of kindness to you as a sign of weakness or bowing down for your forgiveness. Stating the peaceful resolution is me leaving the space.
I'll be real. This is my opinion. I think Pokey making these tweets was not a good idea. I'm gonna be real. That's my, I don't think bro helped himself with making some of these tweets. I think that is not gonna help. The judge might, there could be Saint's lawyers could definitely easily end up spinning this into like a malicious narrative that Pokey would be doing this all maliciously. I think that'd be pretty easy for him to like convey. So this is going to be battle of the narratives. This is 100% going to be battle of the narratives. But you are defending Pokey from this guy? Brother, what do you mean defending? I literally just said that this was an issue. Bro, I literally just said that Pokey made a mistake doing this, because this could easily be framed as like him trying to be like malicious in like his intent. I'm being objective as I can here.
By act of absolute good faith and kindness, feeling sorry for what happened to you, you decided to weaponize it and paint me as a gotcha terrorist. When the time comes, I will quote you on your own words, no mercy. And a little bit of the context of this, there was a raid on some Discord servers with some illicit material that was posted. Now, that has nothing to do with the legal scenario, but some of that sentiment probably in there. So one thing I point out, de-escalation and peaceful resolutions are often the best result, not lawsuits, not going through the legal process. So anytime I see somebody throwing that out, I think they're really getting into an area that's over their heads. But let's...
What? Wait, what? Am I retarded? Wait, what?
I point out, de-escalation and peaceful resolutions are often the best result, not lawsuits, not going...
Okay, so he agrees peaceful resolutions are often the best course of action.
Going through the legal process. So anytime I see somebody throwing that out, I think they're really getting into an area that's over their heads.
But Pokey wanting peaceful resolutions is him going over his head? Am I reading this right?
Result, not lawsuits, not going through the legal process. So anytime I see somebody throwing that out, I think they're really getting...
Oh, throwing out peaceful resolution. Oh, okay. I thought you meant throwing it out there as in like wanting... Okay, I was like, wait, am I stupid? No, I am stupid. But it wasn't Pokey that like threw out the peaceful resolution. It was Saint, right? It was Saint who decided to reject the peaceful resolution, not Pokey. So like, hey,
into an area that's over their heads. But let's get into the actual law and the way it breaks down with the YouTube system, because the YouTube system is very specific and it kind of covers the DMCA process. So when you have a YouTube copyright dispute,
Pokey demanded 3 like a terrorist. But okay, from my understanding, you don't get it, Cab? Okay, from my understanding, didn't Pokey DM Saint wanting like peaceful resolution, and then they just never ended up speaking? They just never ended up speaking. So that they actually never had that conversation, right? They actually never had a discussion of what a peaceful resolution could look like. Like, Pokey offered it, and that just never happened. So, like, I don't know what we're saying here. So we could say, like, there were, like, demands, or, like, there was, like, a request or whatever the fuck it was beforehand of what Pokey, like, wanted to happen. But then that doesn't really matter when you then try and go to them personally and ask for, like, a resolution, right? Because then you don't know what could have been discussed. You don't know what, like, could have been discussed. Sage's paid chat gonna cry. Are you okay? Bro, are you good? Is comprehension kind of difficult for you? I'm very confused. I'm very confused. He streamed with the title, I don't negotiate with gacha terrorists, so he threw it out, rejected it, basically. Yeah, like, it wasn't rejection. It was like, it was a non-compliance of even wanting to, like, start the conversation, right? There's no peaceful resolution would mean Pokey admitting he maliciously dig strike Saint. I mean, I don't know how you could, like, say that. That's your, like, opinion, right? That's your opinion given on how you feel about the situation, right?
Particularly one where you have a DMCA counter notification. Proper venue, that's where the lawsuit is, where everything has to go down, is determined by U.S. federal copyright law. And that doesn't matter where the parties are from. They can be from anywhere on the planet. Obviously, Mr. Pokey from Singapore, he could be from Mali, he could be from South Sudan, he could be from Argentina. It doesn't matter. You've got to apply U.S. federal copyright law on a YouTube claim. Lawsuits must be brought in a federal court in the United States, a federal district court, regardless of where the parties reside. And when they are participating in the YouTube system, the notice and counter notice system, they're consenting to jurisdiction. So they're consenting to that US-based jurisdiction.
Okay, this is good commentary. This is actually providing information to me and us about how the copyright system would be laid out. But I think, like, we know about this, right, so far. So, like,
usually you're going to bring that case in the federal district where the defendant resides, or in the Northern District of California, because, well, that's where YouTube is, in the Northern District of California. So the foreign law here, really to examine this, U.S. law is going to cover, since it's a U.S. company. So Mr. Pokey, if he's talking about bringing a quote unquote real lawsuit, and he's thinking about bringing a Singaporean lawsuit, well, that
I mean, that's just not happening, is it? Again, I feel like this video would have been so much better if he just, like, corrected a few of these things. Or if, like, he just, like, reached out to get some information first before, like, making a video. I feel like this would have made the video, like, a whole lot more credible. I feel like this is not, like, a big deal, but, like, this is just giving out the wrong information. It's just, like, I really don't, I'll be real, I don't think this is, like, a big deal in the grand scheme of fucking things, to be honest. But, like, I feel like it just would have been better just to at least, like, give the right info, but it's, you know.
It really is not going to apply U.S. law, and it's not going to have an enforceable judgment, because you can go and have some sort of lawsuit in some countries allow
is to deceive people who aren't informed. Yeah, because now people are going to get the wrong idea. But okay, I'm going to be real about something. I kind of feel like he's getting this information wrong, but it kind of doesn't matter, because even if someone watches this video and then they're like, oh, Mr. Pokey's got a Singaporean lawyer, he's fucked. that doesn't change the actual lawsuit that's happening, because Pokey is getting has got like a US lawyer. So people thinking he has a Singaporean lawyer doesn't actually fucking change anything in the grand scheme of things, right? Like it doesn't change anything. So I don't think it's like a huge deal that he's getting this wrong, but it just makes him look less credible. But I don't think this is like a fucking like a mega like be all and end all, you know what I mean?
This different countries are different, but in some countries you might even be able to quote unquote bring a lawsuit against somebody. Maybe they don't show up or they don't even bother fighting it, and you get some sort of judgment in that country. So maybe you have a judgment in, let's say, Romania, right? But that will not necessarily be enforced in other countries. Many countries will not enforce those, particularly as to civil judgments, because that law was not correctly applied. And in this case, it's very, very clear that U.S. law has to be applied. So in order to prevent the lawsuit,
I think they're trying to scare Pokey into stopping. Yeah, I don't think them giving the wrong information is going to scare Pokey into stopping doing this. I think that's just going to make him think, wait, these people don't know what they're talking about. If anything, right? I feel like if anything, it would make him more confident. If people are like giving the wrong info. I don't know. That would be me anyway. But again, I still think this is a massive fucking uphill battle, bro.
To, you know, and prevent everything
Massive
from being
battle.
reposted, because eventually he's filed a counter notice, right? So he's filed the intention, right, to and the willingness to fight back through a lawsuit. You can repost that information after a 10 through 14 day DMCA window, right? And you've got to post proof that you have put your claim in US federal court and show that to YouTube. And if he's not able to do that, that's going to be a problem. Filing abroad, filing some Singaporean lawsuit is not going to meet the YouTube requirements. So then you get into, okay, so it's got to be in the US.
Bro, the fair use argument is really what we all care about. Like, I think we could all say that all of us personally, okay, Singaporean or American lawyer, fucking Archives Enfield drama, it doesn't really fucking matter that much. Like, okay, whatever. Fucking someone says the fucking sky is navy and someone says it's baby blue type shit, right? But the fair use argument is what we all actually care about. And I feel like, again, this is why it's going to a court, because it's not something that could be black and white decided. If it was that easy, you wouldn't have to go to court about it, right? And dude, it's gonna be such a fucking like task to really like have Pokey to win his case. Like I really do believe that, because the only way I could see this ever being in his favor is if the judges really believe his like narrative. And if they really think that like Saint didn't do fair commentary, he was reacting in bad faith, he was maybe lying, or he reacted to be malicious to Pokey, and it wasn't meant to be a critique. If it's framed as being a critique and they deem that the critique wasn't fair, that won't lean into his like favor. Yo, the buns, thank you for the super chat. Not gonna lie, both biases in the chat are annoying as fuck, but enjoy your content, Cap. I'm really trying to be fair to like both sides of this. Like I'm trying to be like, Pokey's side is gonna come from the narrative spin of like the critique being probably being like malicious or bad faith, along with the fact of when it was like uploaded, directly competing. That's probably gonna be his angle. And Saint's angle is gonna be, well, dude, it's a fucking 1 hour, 20-minute video on your 20-minute video. It's by definition transformative because I'm giving commentary throughout. It could be critique. He could even frame it as mockery. So, like, that's the two narratives that are going to be fighting against each other. And that will be up to the judge to decide which one's the strongest one. But I do think Saint has the better, like, at least initially, like, reasoning or like defense, I think, just on first look. But I think it really depends. I'm very interested to see what the actual lawsuit says that Pokey will put forward. Like, what narrative is he gonna paint? What facts is he gonna bring? I'm looking forward to actually seeing what's in it, for everyone to kind of like see. But just on first look, bro, I've said from the beginning, it looks difficult.
is it fair use? Now, this is a more complicated question. And without me picking apart the video and doing a, hour-long or 2-hour-long review of a video that's been copyright struck and opening myself up to a copyright strike, we'll talk about it broadly. Fair use.
Wait, what?
A hour-long or 2-hour-long review of a video that's been copyright struck and opening myself up to a copyright strike. We'll talk about it broadly. Fair use usually.
Oh, so this legal mindset feel that Pokey would strike him too? Again, why not just talk to the guy? Why not just talk to the guy?
Involves commentary and criticism. It's not enough to say, hey, I simply don't like critique. I don't like your talking about me. Therefore, you can't talk about me. That's not enough. Now, using someone's video, that does come in. Okay, you use someone's entire video. Is that transformative? Well, St. Totas and his position says he reacted for an hour and 22 minutes to a 20-minute video. Now, the judge could look at that differently, could say, well, you used all of it, or you didn't use clips, or whatever else. But
I like that argument that someone made earlier in my chat of like, okay, if you reacted to Avengers fucking Endgame and you made commentary about it for 9 hours and you critiqued it, is that then fair use? Is that then fair use and you can like upload it? Wait, can someone do that and find out? Can someone do that? Wait, can someone react to a movie and like just give like insane like 10-hour commentary and then upload it and then go to court over fair use? Because the thing was with the YouTube, when it comes to movies, they do content ID claims. That's what they do. They remove the video for content ID claims. Rather than like the same, like it's not the same as like Pokey like striking a video. It gets automatically claimed. Like if they see frames of videos being played, that's a content ID claim.
What a bitch!
Yo, Omega,
what a nasty,
for the
vile fucking cunt!
So sad. It's like the same thing with people like trying to do like anime reacts, but a bit like they get, it's like the anime react channels, they get rid of it by like trimming down the reacts to put on YouTube, but also like making it so they can't be content ID claimed. So it doesn't recognize it in the system. So I kind of want to see someone react to a fucking movie with like 10-hour commentary and then argue that in a court for fair use. I think that'll be a really interesting case. If you only pause constantly, it has to be to the point where one cannot say, I'm going to watch the video as a replacement for watching the movie. No, exactly. This is why fair use is case by case. Because, like, holy shit.
There's a substantial amount that was added in terms of criticism and critique in response. The other thing they're going to look at is whether it's a market.
That's dumb. Movies are registered media. It's not something that can be shown as a whole and do review alongside it. Well, here's the thing. Look at Ethan Klein. Ethan Klein registered his content nuke with the copyright media places in the US. So that could be done to videos. So you can register any piece of media that you make. And then it would be under the same system. So that doesn't really track. So you can do that. You can do that. Bro, I could take any of my videos that I have and register it in the fucking US copyright like files registry. You pay like a fucking small fee and then you do it. It becomes registered.
Placement from Mr. Pokey's original video. So let's look back to the Dirty Denims, Frogan and Casey Tron versus Ethan Klein. And did he make any statements saying, hey, I'm trying to steal viewers from Mr. Pokey, or this is intended as a replacement for Mr. Pokey? If he did, then that would be...
That's also... I feel Pokey's going to have a really hard time arguing that Saint's video is a replacement for his own. You have to register before you publish, though. That's not true. You don't have to do that. You can register after the fact, too. That's also like valid. I'm pretty sure. Oh, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think you could also do it after the fact. What was I saying? Oh no, yeah. Pokey's gonna have a hard time to prove that like Saint's video was a replacement for his. I think that's gonna be really hard to fucking prove. Because I feel like people are much I feel like the video was only
What a
replaced
bitch.
brother. Oh my god.
What a nasty,
Tara
vile
the-
fucking cunt.
Tara the Pigs, appreciate the gifted sub. I feel like it's only a replacement for Saint's own audience, because I don't think anyone from Saint's audience, or at least a very small portion, would actually willingly go and watch a Mr. Pokey video. They would probably just go and watch Saint's reaction to Mr. Pokey's video, right? Because I very much doubt people from Saint's own audience would actually go watch Pokey's video and instead would watch Saint's reaction to it. So that might be something that gets argued. But how do you prove that? Right? But like how the fuck would you prove that? That's the problem. I don't think that's something you can like easily prove, and could be very easily dismissed by like Saint's team massively, right? So like, and even then you'd have to be like, okay, are the amount of people from Saint's community that watch Saint's video instead of Pokey's, does that do significant revenue damage to Pokey? Well, then you'd be like, well, no, because they wouldn't have watched his video in the first place. Well, they wouldn't have watched his video in the first place if you're going by that logic. So actually, like, I think it's a really hard one to argue for him. It's because if you'll make it, because like I would make the claim that most of Saint's audience wouldn't watch a Pokey video in the fucking first place. So ergo, the damages from him losing out on ad revenue wouldn't actually be as much as you think. But then the question becomes bigger if people outside of Saint's audience or like core audience decides to watch his reaction rather than Pokey's. But then how would you know if they watch both? Maybe people watch Pokey's video and then they watch Saint's reaction too. Like, how do you prove any of this? How do you prove that? I don't think you can. I don't think you really can. So like, this is, I feel this is just kind of like a point that will get thrown away. Like, I feel like this will get a point that will get thrown away because like, I don't know how you can argue for this. That like Saints was a replacement for Pokeys. I don't know if you can argue that. Just being real. It's easy to prove. It's easy to prove because Saint Hontus are evil person and steal videos so much. Okay, I feel like you have like 5 IQ. Listen, man. Brother, you can't say it's proven because Saint bad is not a fucking argument. Are you dumb? Like, I know some of y'all don't like the guy, but saying that it's proven because Saint bad, you sound like you're 10. The fuck? Use your brain, motherfucker. Use your fucking brain. Goddamn. Pokey has 194k subscribers. You would think that he would have more views on his videos, but we all know that like subs don't actually mean like much. Subs don't mean much when it comes to like views on videos, at least in 2026. Everyone knows this, you know. Said in his own reaction, the fact that the video was uploaded the first 12 hours might be seen as an attempt to steal viewership. And he could definitely put that as an argument, right? But I'm saying Saint's video as being a replacement of its own, therefore there's damages for stealing like ad rev, is going to be really hard to prove. Good luck. Is what I'm saying.
Problem, but if he was just issuing critique and commentary and without actively trying to subvert that market, I think that the court might look at that a little bit more favorably on Saint Tonta's side. So as long as he wasn't going about that in a way akin to Denim's, Casey Tron, or Frogan.
Proof they have the same audience, bro. I don't really want to look at a Saint clip, I'll be real.
You can check it out on YouTube, who your audience watches. Ooh, that would be a fun one to see. That would be a fun one to see. Let me go see if I can go access that. Give me a second over here. That would be oh. For Doran's Impact, Miyu Scene, free to play gacha, Doran's Impact, Wuthering Waves, Gacha Smack, Fnatic Sama, Tectone, Wuthering Impact, D3 Tots, Shy Guy, High, Darkos 88, and then Mr. Pokey's at the very end.
But the thing is, this is like last 28 days. I don't know how, bro. Your Honor, I, Mr. Pokey, can see that I am on the 3rd page of his metrics of channels your audience watches. Therefore, we share the same audience. I don't, brother. I don't think that's like, I don't think that's being like he's gonna fucking mean anything. I'll be real. Like Your Honor, I was on the 3rd page of his analytics. I don't like I don't know if like that's something that like would be said, but is it a Pokebird and I think it's sane? I don't know if that matters. Pokey has access to his own analytics too. This is also after the lawsuit was made and everything. Of course there was overlap. I think there's obvious overlap, right, between like gacha content creators, but like the only overlap Saint and Pokey have is because they fucking talk about each other. That's it, right? Like, Saint makes videos on Pokey kind of ignores it, and then makes videos about Saint. Like, that's the overlap. Like, no one, like, unless you're someone who plays both HSR and Wooer, and for some reason you watch both Pokey and Saint, which I feel like if you're a Saint watcher, you're not gonna watch Pokey videos or vice versa. I just don't. Shoot me, I don't think that happens very much. You know? Like... So I don't know how much overlap they truly have an audience.
And I think it might be looked more like critique. But of course, this is a thing with fair use. Different judges can weigh the factors differently. So there could be a judge that says, hey, I don't like that you use the entire video, or I think you shouldn't have used this particular portion of the video. It might weigh that differently. But I think overall, looking at that, the fair use factors on their face tend to lean towards Saint. So let's go to the judgment. In my judgment, Saint Tontas has the current advantage as an American with a U.S. lawyer when fighting a Singaporean.
Well, that's just written off.
Singaporean Mr. Pokey in court. He's got to go and do all this work. He's got to hire the American lawyer. He's got to deal with U.S. law. And right now, it's not even clear whether he has re-engaged a U.S. lawyer instead of a Singaporean lawyer. And the fair use factors do lean in favor of Saint just broadly, but judges can rule differently and they can rule the way they want. So you've got to really leave the door open for anything to happen if it actually slugs out. Of course, that's very costly. And therefore, my really final conclusion,
like I've said, this is gonna be really difficult.
is both of these parties, Mr. Pokey and Saint, are really better sitting down, calming down, and coming to a
I feel like a settlement was better. I feel like the settlement. Did he ever mention about uploading 12 hour? No, because it's very clear that he's just like giving passing opinion on like an initial situation. He's not giving all the details of like specifically on either side. To be fair, he's not even giving like Saint's side either. He's just giving like what he could see. Like, oh, here's a video. It was this long. It got struck. Like, he's not. That's it. He's not. It's not going too in. Bro, it's fast opinions. Okay, like it is. But I'll be real. I don't think this video. Bro, I'll be real. I don't think this video is gonna do much for anything. Like, it's. I don't think this video is like a big fucking deal. I don't think Legal Mindset uploading this video is suddenly gonna have everyone up in arms about like really fucking anything. To be honest, I feel like this blows up when Pokey reveals what the lawsuit actually is. I think then people will start talking about this more, and maybe it might go a bit more like of a mainstream topic, because like I think the lawsuit needs to be filed first, and then people can actually read what the claims are, and then people will see.
Legal resolution. But I will say to Mr. Pokey, expecting one party not to ever comment on another again, saying, hey, don't talk about me again, keep my name out your mouth, that is not a reasonable expectation. Or
I think that's fair. It's not a reasonable expectation. I think that's fair, but like you, because like it's not a fucking protective order, it's not a cease and desist, right? It's reasonable if he's being harassed. Okay, then he has to file for a harassment fucking claim. Not a fucking copyright claim. That's the thing. Like, if you want someone to stop like talking about you, you don't do that by making a copyright claim or lawsuit. That's not how that works. Like, you'd have to file a harassment suit. Like, that's not like... So it is unreasonable if you're copyright striking someone to be like, don't mention me again. That's not reasonable if you're making a copyright claim, right? Guys, use our brains. Use our brains. Y'all are getting confused with like oh, like Saint might be harassing someone versus what are they actually going to court for, which is a copyright claim. So Pokey demanding that you don't speak about him anymore doesn't make sense in a copyright suit, and it's unreasonable. Okay, let's use our brains. Okay, it's very easy to do that. This is not a defamation case. This is a copyright claim case. So y'all, I think y'all are getting your feelings mixed up. Y'all are getting your feelings mixed up in the source a little bit. You got to think about what they're actually fighting over.
Or generally an enforceable expectation on the internet.
He could turn it into defamation. Brother, do you know how difficult it is to win defamation cases in the US? Bro, the US is gnarly when it comes to defamation cases. Like you would have to prove that your damages to your reputation are so severe that you've lost a lot of fucking money, that like you have to prove that without a shadow of the doubt. But the problem is, both of them, if Pokey were to file a defamation suit on Saint, it would be difficult because they've both made videos about each other. They've both made videos about each other, and a judge will see that and they'll look at like mutual damage. Like have you said nothing this entire time and someone's been coming at you and ruined your reputation and got sponsors away from you and whatever the fuck it is, and then they'll look, oh wait, you've actually been responding and you've actually been doing something similar. The judge will look at that, and that's why defamation cases are so hard, because they look at like respective mutual damages, right? So like that's why defamation is so fucking hard. You are wrong. I really don't think I am. Bro, if you are filing for defamation and you are also someone that's been engaging in similar activities, a judge will look at that and be like, well, hang on a minute. That definitely plays into a case. You cannot tell me I'm wrong on that. That's exactly what they do. That's exactly what they do. If it turns into defamation, it could be settled in Singaporean court too. That doesn't change anything. That doesn't change anything. Have you considered I'm right? As someone in the States, I can confirm. I don't think the copyright claim has anything to do with Pokey not wanting Saint to talk about him anymore. He said multiple times it's to protect his content. If the strike does go through, that Saint doesn't stop Saint from talking about Pokey, he would just have to be more creative with how he presents Pokey's points. I mean, it would just have to be under fair use. Like, whatever they deem the fair use to be. Defamation's a game for billionaires. Agree. I agree. Defamation's a game for billionaires. No, I agree on that.
Absent some other circumstance. This is not a situation where we're dealing with something like a death threat or a threat of physical harm.
Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't H3H3 have another case of defamation against Harvey Weinstein? Not Harvey Weinstein. Fuck. The other Weinstein. No, fuck. What's his name? Fuck me. They did it for like a fucking, like 2 years. It was like a 2-year long fucking like defamation case. Holy shit. What was it? Oh my god. But they had to end up settling it. It wasn't Harvey Weinstein. Oh fuck. He looked like Harvey Weinstein. Shit. Matt Haas? No. That was the first fair use case. And then H3 had another lawsuit. It was a defamation case against the guy that looked like Harvey Weinstein. I forgot his fucking name. Did he not lose? They settled. They had to settle. Yeah, he had to make a public apology. Fuck, I forgot what his name was. The guy, Kavanaugh! Ryan Kavanaugh! No, H3 ended up having a defamation case with Ryan Kavanaugh because H3 kept saying that he looked like Harvey Weinstein and he kept like doing stuff to H3. Or whatever the fuck it was. And then he went to fucking court for like 2 years and they had to settle. And then H3 had to apologize. Yeah, defamation cases are gnarly, bro. They're gnarly. Bro, no, Ryan... he does look like Harvey Weinstein. Look, wait. Ryan Kavanaugh. Right. Does he or does he not look like Harvey Weinstein? Bro, you can't... like... Doesn't he or does he not look like Harvey Weinstein? Legally, I cannot answer. Yeah, so like that's why they had to settle. But anyway, So H3 has lost lawsuits with his lawyer. H3 has lost lawsuits with that lawyer. Case in point being the Harvey Weinstein, Ryan Kavanaugh case. But yeah.
Right? So this is a situation in which someone is giving critique. And if your position is don't critique.
I'll be real. H3's lawyer, I forgot his name, Rob Nassim, he's had a lot of fucking L's. If you know anything about him, he's even the one I think like iDubbbz used for something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like he's had a couple of L's to his name. But like that wasn't in copyright cases, I believe.
Me ever again. Generally, that's not something that's going to be enforced or held up in court. But I want to know what you guys think about this and the gotcha war of Mr. Pokey.
I feel like this could have been a better video if he like just got some of the facts correct. Like if he just like the couple of things that were like actually just wrong, I feel like this video would be better. But again, I think the actual like discussion of this whole thing, I think it's just to ignite like discussion about this whole thing. And I'm very, very locked in and interested in this whole lawsuit. I'm really trying to be like as objective as possible because I don't think this is entirely black or white, but I think it's going to be a really hard uphill battle to kind of like go ahead with, honestly. I think Pokey's going to have a pretty hard time. And I'm interested to see what's actually in the lawsuit itself. But again, I want to emphasize, I don't think it's a good idea for anyone to be like copyright striking people. I don't. Like I can like hate someone, right? I can like not like someone, but like I wouldn't ever like copyright strike someone. Like I know I mentioned about like a defamation like YouTube web form a couple days ago, but that doesn't strike a channel. That doesn't strike a channel. It either takes down a video or like you just force someone to change a thumbnail. That's it. Like it doesn't actually strike someone. But I would never be in support of like just like copyright striking people over like disputes like this, personally. Because I think it sets like a precedent that makes things kind of scary. But at the same time, I feel like this is going to be, depending on how this gets ruled, if it even goes that far. Bro, I'll be real. I have a feeling that they might settle this beforehand. I do. I feel like things will be settled before they even get to like a judging ruling decision, personally. But like, I think there's a lot of questions people have about fair use of what is transformative content. And I feel like we do need more definitions. I really feel like we need more definitions on what like transformative content is. So if we get something like that out of this, I consider that like a win for like content. But yeah. Can we see the Pokey side react waiting? If we see the Pokey side, we'll also have to watch the Saint side. Guys, if we're gonna do that, we're gonna have to be fair. If you make me watch the Pokey side, we'll have to watch Saint side reacting to this too. I think that's fair, right? Please no? Well, then I'm not gonna just watch one, not the other. That's a bit much. Guys, I'm not gonna watch one person's react to it and then not the other person's side either. That doesn't seem fair to me. Saint is 1 hour? He reacted to an hour? Oh my god. Wait, you know what, bro? I'll give bro props, bro. Bro could talk for the whole of his country if he wanted to. I'll give bro that. I don't want to hear most of his voice. I imagine 60% was just bullshitting. That's a lot of mental. Okay, yeah, bro. If he made that like a 20-minute fucking video or like a half an hour one, I'd fucking watch it. But yeah, like if he made it an hour, I'm good, bro. I'm not watching an hour. What's the point? Saint will say that you're on the side of Pokey. Bro, when it comes to this situation of copyright, I'm not on the side of fucking anyone. I'm on the side of like what is legally sound. Like because I care. I genuinely care about like the ruling of this. Because if it goes through, it changes a lot for all of us. So like, I'm on the side of what the fucking law determines to be like transformative content or not. Because it literally affects me, it affects everybody. So I'm not just gonna, oh, I want this to go through or I don't want it to go through. It's like, I just care about what the courts decide to be fair. You're gonna be AoE'd? Bro, it's like, okay. Oh my god, Captain Cabinetz said that she's not on someone's side. Wow. Guys, if you really, like, I could, because I don't see what benefit taking a side has. Like, why would I blindly take one side or the other on this? Like, I'm on the side of, like, I want to know what the judge thinks about this and what the ruling is. That's the side I'm on. That's the side I'm on. I think we should, I already said, I don't think it should have been copyright struck in the first place. I think Pokey's gonna have a really fucking hard time dealing with this shit. And I think if he ends up winning, it's gonna be place a lot more restrictions on people doing reacts in the future. That's my opinion, right? That's my initial thing. But at the same time, I also believe if we're doing transformative work, if the transformative content is like meant to attack or put down or be bad faith, I don't think that should necessarily, like, maybe that should be taken into account. But then it goes into the question of like, oh, is that free speech or not? And then it's like, is free speech allowed on platforms? Like, bro, yeah. Is it critique? Is it critique or is it like defamatory? Bro, there's so much. There's so much to this. This is why it's just, I can't just blindly pick like a side, but I think I'm pretty obvious in where I'm like standing on this. I think I've pretty much said that like, I think Saint has the better chance of winning this. I think I've pretty much said that like throughout all of this. Pokey got a tank that unfortunately. There is no free speech in Britain. Free speech is not free to insult. Yeah, free speech doesn't mean you're free to defame someone. Hey bro, I live in the fucking UK. I live in the UK. There's shit that I can't say about like my government unless I want to be thrown in fucking jail, right? Like I'll be arrested if I dare make some kind of fucking comments about my government, right? Like, listen. Bro, I can't even go on bro, I can't. Bro, I can't even go on fucking IMGA! I live in a fucking commie country at this point! Fucking Keir Starmer! What is this? Fucking China? I'm supposed to live in a first world country with like freedoms and liberties and I can't even access fucking IMGA! Do I live in fucking China? Like, Jesus Christ! I can't even— do you know what? I'm gonna say that. Like, holy fuck, bro. Keir Stalin. I can't say that, bro. I'll get arrested. God damn. Use a proxy for IMGA. Yeah, I'm not using a VPN while I'm fucking streaming. Brother, what kind of retard do you think I am gonna use a VPN while I'm streaming? Yeah, great fucking idea. I've already crashed twice this stream. What do the comments say? I'm actually kind of curious. What do the newest comments say? Mojo. Nice work covering this and giving professional takes. Been following the situation, and while the videos are fun, I do kind of hope the case ends up being just. Poker seems to be lashing out like a wounded tiger. Most of those wounds are self-inflicted. Start attacking you personally because they didn't like what you said. I don't know if it's they didn't like what you said. It's just you were misinformed. I don't know if these people are kind of strange. They didn't like what— okay. I mean, okay. False facts, but I don't check the facts. What's the top comments? I'm not curious. Massive Dave that employed. The feud has reached unemployed levels so high to the point even legal mindset has reacted to it. Unemployed rules to be on legal mindset video. Uncanami Pontontus versus that guy from Singapore. Gacha drama going mainstream. Goddamn. I don't think— I'll be real. I don't think 24k views in one day is like necessarily going mainstream, but we'll see. We'll see. Pretty crazy. Self-employed is unemployed. And here's the thing. I think like the unfortunate thing is that like anybody who like reacts to this that isn't informed on the situation properly is gonna get a false like perception of like events. Like say like if like someone like Asmon fucking reacted to this, he's just gonna be reacting to a video that has like things that are wrong in it, and then that's just gonna be spread everywhere. W narrative, I guess. Like, W narrative. I think that's why like I wish this was just a bit more like informed, but like overall I don't think it's a big fucking deal. It doesn't change anything about the actual lawsuit. It doesn't change anything about the actual like lawsuit itself. But yeah. Anyway, should we move on?